so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I would like, first of all, it's good to see some friendly faces here among the audience. I would like, first of all, to congratulate the SPA for this event. It's for me a pleasure to also host you here in Central Tejo. And the topic that we will be talking to you about today is really how are we going to talk about the power of data and the influence it has in today's context and in our organizations. And currently, when we look at data as an enabler of what we are doing in our organizations, being in the power sector at this particular point in time, I really want to give you a very quick overview about how we are seeing the context about the 4 Cs. About the 4 Cs, that it's what we are seeing in terms of the context that we are doing today in terms of our organizations. The first one has to do with climate. And because it is true that in today's context, when we were thinking about the targets in 2050, where we just wanted to have 1.5 degrees in terms of the global warming, that was already a very significant challenge that we were facing. And the energy transition to really achieve these targets by 2050 was already a significant challenge. Then we had COVID reality. And when we are looking into all the disruption we had in terms of the supply chain and all the context in terms of inflation that we are facing now after COVID, it has something that has dramatically changed the context where we are operating. When we were seeing already a lot of change in terms of the market, we had a conflict coming between Russia and Ukraine, a tremendous humanitarian crisis, and also at the same time a crisis that had a significant impact in terms of the energy crisis that we are facing. So when we look at the market nowadays, it's a market where we can see that it's being tremendously complex where we are operating, because we had the gas crisis because of the dependence. For instance, in kind of Europe in the end of 2021, we had 60% dependence in terms of Russian gas, which of course made skyrocket prices in terms of energy prices that derived from gas. Energy market interventions, that is a tremendous threat for investment and for stability in a context where we really need to increase investment for the energy transition, and a lot of market design reforms. And we see today, this week, the meetings in Brussels on the Energy Council, we can see that a lot is happening in terms of the sector. So today I just wanted to give you a very quick overview basically on 4 things. The purpose that we have in terms of EDP to really lead this energy transition and the challenges it poses for us as an organization and as a society. Our beliefs in terms that digital transformation is really a core piece for our strategy. Our aspirations in terms of really becoming a reference in terms of digital and in terms of data and AI. And finally, just to share with you some of the things that we are doing in terms of delivery, in terms of data and AI. So when we look at the targets for utilities, the energy transition really triggers reinvention, because it was really critical to achieve these targets by 2050. We need really a revolution to take place until that part. A lot of ambitious goals were set up to 2050, as we could see. By that period of time, the world needs to have 90% of renewable shares in power generation by 2050. We need to have worldwide 100% coal phase out by 2050. And the power sector really needs to be zero carbon by 2050. So we really urgently need to decarbonize and really electrify the world if we really want to achieve the targets. And it's important, why do we want as a society to reach the targets? Because it's not just a question of purpose and what we want to do as a society. If we don't do that, the cost of non-action will be tremendous, because we will have a lot of the territories that will be inhabitable. We will have floods, we will have extreme climate events, so significant challenges for humanity and for the future generations. So it's really, we need to act now, and in many circumstances we are already acting significantly later than we should. So we are looking in terms of our company to really change tomorrow now globally. We are a global company that is operating nowadays in 29 markets, from the US to APAC and to different geographies in Europe, with 13,000 employees already worldwide in the different geographies. Just to give you some data, 3,000 new employees joined the company in the last 3 years, so a lot of change and a lot of new hires, and a lot of new hires coming because our plan is significantly growing. We are present across the whole value chain, from renewables to networks to client solutions and to energy management. And also, when we look at how we want to lead this energy transition, up to 2025, we have a significant investment plan. We have presented our investment plan last year with 24 billion euros of investment until 2025. And in terms of our strategy, we are really focusing on accelerated and sustainable growth, in having a future-proof organization, and really to have ESG excellence and significant shareholder returns. And in the future-proof organization, for us, talent and people, digital and innovation are core elements of that part of the strategy. So in order to do that, we are also investing up to 2025, 1 billion euros in terms of digital and 1 billion euros in terms of innovation, to really make sure that by 2030, we are really able to have increased by 50 gigawatts renewable energy. And by 2030, the company will be all green. Today, already 75% of our energy is from green sources, and we aim to achieve 100% by 2030. So significant, ambitious. How is it interlinked to everything that we are doing in terms of digital and in terms of AI? Because these commitments really require that we have an aligned digital transformation, because to really do this energy transition, that is a very significant challenge up to 2030, that will be enabled by the 3 key pillars that I've mentioned to you, we really need to have a significant digital transformation across the organization. We really need to become a global digital-first, data-centric organization with a very strong digital culture among all our people across the different geographies. And this is a challenge in what we are doing today. For this digital transformation to really take place, utilities really need to rely in a lot of tech trends. And just to share with you some study done by McKinsey, when we see from all the different tech trends that we will see, we can already see the importance that AI will play and the type of investment that we believe that at a worldwide level is going to be made in terms of applied AI. So for us, it's really something core in terms of the strategy that we are pursuing. So very briefly, how do we believe that AI will act as a key enabler for the energy transition? When we look at the targets up to 2050, we see that the technologies that will be required to achieve the targets that worldwide we have to 2050, this will require that around 30% of the technologies that we need for the energy transition are either not invented yet or not deployed yet. And in fact, digital and AI will be core in really accelerating this path in implementing and deploying these new technologies. So we really see that AI has a high potential contribution to the global economy, either by increasing productivity and efficiency in a very internal way, or at the same time from the consumption side effects that we can also see as a potential and significant area for AI. Within our sector, we can see multiple applications for AI in the energy sector, from customer engagement that we can see in our sector and also in other sectors. But when we look at everything that has to do with smart grids, with smart cities, with microgrids management, there is a huge potential of what can be done in terms of AI, but also from storage, from energy trading, from predictive analytics in the way that we are managing our operations, either if it's in an offshore park, in an onshore park, in an hydro plant. There is a significant potential for what we can do in AI to really accelerate this energy transition. So multiple areas that really require these applications across the sector. And it's very interesting when we look at EDP, how our vision is being structured in the main pillars that we are acting within our organization in a transversal way. The first one is really to be all global, because today, when we are present in 29 markets, for us, being all global means to be acting across these multiple geographies with a global strategy and a global orchestration, and at the same time to be present in the different businesses that we have across the value chain. The second one is really to act on digital culture. We really need to have digital embedded in the culture that we have within the organization, to really think digital first, to really think based on digital since day one, and that's a significant change that we need to have within the organization. The path that we have thrived towards the cloud, to really be all cloud across the organization, and this poses very interesting challenges and very different paths that we are pursuing in the different businesses. To really become this data-driven company in all the decisions that we are making in our businesses, and this also requires, as an organization, you can see that cybersecurity is a main challenge for every sector and every organization. The critical sectors that are in utilities are even more targets than other sectors because of the implications, all the media that it can be generated. So if this is a priority for all the organizations, in the power utilities is a significant concern, and that we are increasingly investing. To really be about all excellence, because it's not just about implementing AI and focusing on data. It's really to make sure that every day what we are doing in terms of our operations, that we aim to be best in class, that we do with all excellence. Last but not least, this has significant implications in terms of the talent, the training that we have within the organization, to really attract, retain, develop the best people, to really make sure that we have the right competencies to do this significant challenge. And it is important also to see that while we are doing this, and we are unleashing the power of data at the service of our business, we have to really make sure that we focus first on data trust, because if we don't have healthy data within the organization, if we don't have data that is really ready for us to act on, it's really impossible to really address the challenges that we have in terms of these areas. Then it is also important that we have responsible AI, that in terms of data protection, that we take that into consideration. That's not to complicate, it's really to make sure that it's available, that we ensure confidentiality, that we ensure integrity, and that we contribute to break some myths that many times exist of the things that we cannot do because of the GDPR. And what we need to do is really to put the GDPR at the service of what needs to be done to really unleash the power of data, but do that in a responsible way. And at the same time, to really guarantee that data in our organizations will be a future-proof driver, because we really want to lead this energy transition, and to do that, we really need data governance within the organizations. And if you are having multiple businesses across the value chain and you are acting in multiple geographies, it becomes an even more significant challenge, because we really need to look into the data architecture and how we are going to address it and design it, how we are ensuring data security, how we are mastering data in the way we manage it. So many challenges for the organizations to address. There is a bad part, it's becoming more and more complex. The good part, it's that it's really a tremendous challenge for teams, and so I also believe that our employee value propositions in terms of attracting the right talent, it's also becoming increasingly attractive sectors to really manage this type of challenges. To do that, we really need to have responsible AI, and this means on one dimension to really make sure that we have the governance, we have the ethics and regulation to really make it right, to have fairness in the way that we manage, and that's very important in what we are doing, that we are able to interpret it and to explain it, and at the same time that we look into the risk and legal framework where we operate. And just to give this example, I could be talking about the US, but just to give a European example, as we are in Portugal today, it's really what has been done in the European Union. It's something that we really need to make contributions and to have a very close follow-up on these developments, to really make sure that we simplify instead of complexify, and that we really make sure that organizations and nations are really able to take and extract the maximum value of data in this global context. And this is a challenge today because many times we face a lot of legal, policy and risk assessments that we really need to overcome. At EDP, we have already delivered several digital products leveraging on data and in AI techniques. Just to give you some very brief examples, one is our Vega project, where we are using AI to really make the next vegetation corridor to be cleaned. So what we use is AI to really determine and predict where we should send the field teams, and by doing so, we are acting much more in a preemptive way, and of course, saving investment because we are not sending the teams to really go to the ground and understand that there is no need for that type of intervention. One other example is electric dots, where we really determine the next spot to install a public EV charger based on traffic of EV vehicles, so we can really predict where we should do it in a more efficient way. The next roof, where we will be installing a distributed solar panel to really make sure that we do it in an efficient way and based on data and not on our assumptions or on where our teams believe the next one should be built. The other thing is really to have the next turbine to be subject to maintenance action that has to do with all the sensors that we are installing in the blades to really understand and predict what we can do and the data that we are collecting from there. And also all the things that we can do in the proximity of fires to power lines, where we can work together with the community and with institutions to really have the next locations or where we can and should deploy a field team to act on fires and not do it in our beliefs based. So this is just to share with you some of the cases that we are doing in terms of our organization. And in this part, I want to look at all of you that are here today in presence and online to really tell you that we as an organization, we really need you. And we need the talent, so all of you that really want to work in this challenge. So yes, we are significantly hiring positions for everyone that wants to work in data, that wants to work in AI. And we are looking for partners because we need to work in an ecosystem of partners where we work together among the different institutions to really find the solutions for these challenges. So we are looking for talent and partners to the next big projects that we are doing as an organization. And in terms of the areas where we are focusing in terms of AI, I would highlight 4 key priorities that we have as an organization. The first one is how are we going to scale our AI capabilities? And to do that, we really need to empower the business units and to really make sure that in every different business, we are accelerating the businesses and embedding these competencies in the teams that we have, and at the same time, to really orchestrate it globally and to drive it in a central way, because you know that we need to have these teams in terms of data, in leveraging the competencies, in creating these networks, in managing this talent throughout the whole group. The second thing is really to implement this responsible AI framework that we have been talking about, and it's a significant challenge. We are deploying it across the different businesses and the different geographies to really create the value by having real-time data from all our operations in data that combines the different businesses and interacts in the different businesses and really improves the customer experience and improves the way that we are managing operations, to really have this data and analytics embedded in our decision-making, to really make sure that when we are making investment decisions, when we are acting on preventive maintenance, when we are managing our operations, that we do it based on data and on the knowledge that we have. And so these are the 4 main areas where we are working as a company. And this for us, it's really important because when you look at this statement that was built in the combination, I would say, between IBM and Gartner, that says, really, data is the oil of the 21st century and analytics is the combustion engine. In our perspective, we really want to go and to move beyond this vision, because we really want to turn data into power, which in our sector has here a double meaning, because it's the power on how we are unleashing this value and really lead the energy transition. And we really want to go from analytics to action, because in our organization, we really have a purpose of leading this energy transition and being all green by 2030. And to do that, we really want to change tomorrow now. And my final message is that we really want to do that with you. And as I've mentioned, with the talent and partners of finding this such good purpose that is really how can we contribute to what the world needs, that is this energy transition, to move much faster and to really put data and AI at the service of leading this energy transition. Thank you very much.